The following production is part of the Play Some Video Games podcast network.
This week's episode of PSVG Prime is brought to you by the amazing Patreon supporters over at patreon.com/PSVG. But a huge thank you to all of our Patreon producers, especially Coach Hulk, Edwin Callow, Barry Cathcart, Josh Barboni, Chris M, Dev Tyus, Paul Calico, Kyle Heyman, and Benny Lou. Thank you so much for your love and support. We do appreciate it. And a reminder to everybody, if you are a Patreon supporter, you not only get exclusive episodes of PSVG DLC, but you also get the newly reformatted Arcadia Academia and everyone's favorite, except for me, Kevin Hates Everything, coming direct to you, as well as being entered into our monthly giveaways. Current offerings for this month includes $20 Apex Legends credit or $20 to the eShop of your choice. And Nintendo Shack, who's this month's sponsor of the giveaway, added NBA 2K Playgrounds 2 for the Nintendo Switch as well. And if you listen to this, you probably have a few days left to get in on that entry for this month. Head on over to patreon.com/PSVG. But now, on to this week's episode of PSVG Prime. Hello, everyone. It is I, Kevin, your host of the PSVG Prime, the flagship show of the PSVG Podcast Network. With me, returning, and we missed him last week, Lucas, buddy. How you doing?
I'm good. Glad to be here. I popped in for E3 for a second, and then family matters got in the way yet again. But I think things are slowly calming down, and I'll be back where I rightfully belong.
Wait, Jaleel White got in your way of podcasting last week?
Yeah, you didn't I tell you about this? Are you in the Discord?
That's weird.
I put this all in the Discord. Yeah,
Steve Urkel himself just got in the way.
I know him. He's actually my second cousin's brother's husband.
Oh,
wait.
Is he going to fill in for Jason on Fluxtapose when Jason goes away?
Yeah, the entire cast actually.
Oh wow.
Yeah, which would be really interesting because some of them.
That's impressive. That's yeah.
We pull the big names, but
apparently, I mean, you know, we've had some folks here, but I mean, the entire cast of Family Matters. That's
I mean, when you go to film school, you got some pretty serious pull after that. They don't tell you about that, but you're in touch with everybody who ever worked in Hollywood.
Carl Winslow himself.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. Yeah. So this is PSVG Prime. In case you folks forget what a normal show of us actually sounds like, it gets derailed and we talk about random things. But hey, we're back. We're not talking about E3 finally. Well, I mean, I think maybe kind of we will later, but we stopped focusing on E3, I should say. And we're going to play our normal role here in the PSVG Podcast Network, which is playing cleanup for all the stories that you may have missed from the previous week. But before we dive into that, we got to talk a little bit about what we've been playing because we haven't been able to do that for a while, especially you, other than, you know, that other show that Jason sometimes lets you talk about games in between Smash Brothers. You know.
That's true. I mean, I still go on too long. Even so, we ended up, because we had a guest on, we ended up skipping a week. So now I'm like a week behind and just was like, I'll just do everything that I put in the document for 1 week ago on this week's show. So then I skipped a bunch of stuff. And now it's all like, did I play that? Or was that like 2 weeks ago? Or what is going on?
What is going on here?
Exactly.
Wing.
So shall I go first?
Go.
It feels so good. Let's start with Paratopic. Okay, so I had one of those nights where I was just like, I don't know what I feel like playing. I have some games going right now, but none of them sound good. I only have a certain amount of time. Let's see what's in there that I can just check out and won't feel too bad if I have to skip out on it and never come back to it. And that usually tends to be those weird off-brand games that I get from Humble Bundle. Like,
sure.
I've never heard of this, so let's just try it and then promptly delete it. So Paratopic, anybody who has Humble Bundle will probably remember, oh, I got this weird game. It's like a weird horror atmospheric game. I put horror in quotation marks because in the time that I played it, it was weird. It was surreal, I guess, but it wasn't scary, I didn't think. But what you do is, from what I gathered, you're delivering these VHS tapes that are sort of like drugs, as far as I can tell, or at least that's the way they're treated. And you talk to some people, you walk around rooms and click on things, and then you're kind of jump cut to another scene almost. So it's kind of edited to a movie type beat where you'll be doing something and then it'll all of a sudden cut and you're doing something else. But here's the interesting part. It tells you it's about a 45 minute experience, and there's no saving. You have to sit down and play the entire thing in one sitting.
I don't think I like that.
Yeah, I know. I was like, well, I don't plan on sticking around anyway, probably. So let's give it a shot. But yeah, I thought that was weird. So I ended up getting stuck because this is a really weird game. It's like a walking simulator mixed with a visual novel or something. It was hard to tell what was going on. It was like a David Lynch movie. It was weird. And so I'm in the woods and I'm like taking pictures of birds, and then I come across this like farm or this barn, and I go under there's a hatch in the floor, and there's this power station operations thing. So I flip on the breaker, somebody says some stuff, and then I don't know what to do next. And at this point I've been playing for like 20 minutes. So I wander around after already having wandered around looking at these birds, and it doesn't tell you what to do. It's one of those games where it doesn't tell you what you're doing. You just wander around and figure it out. So I wandered a little bit, figured that out, and then wandered some more. And I'm like, yeah, I think I'm done with this one.
Aww.
Shove your artsy fartsy where the sun don't shine, because this is it. It didn't look very good. The art style was intriguing. If you look it up, it's very almost
low, like N64, almost like polygonal, Perfect Dark-esque. It looks like the old Perfect Dark, not
really weird textures and just fuzzy and all sorts of weird. So
yeah, I'm reading it now. Paratopic is a horror game about a cursed videotapes and horrible monsters lurking in the woods. Follow an assassin, a smuggler, and a photographer. It's a slow burning tale of violence that uses film editing techniques to ramp up the tension.
I didn't even read that in it. I said film editing.
You totally did. Yeah. It says Paratopic uses rapid cuts from one scene to another to create a sense of confusion, but also to help the player find meaning. Cutting from a monster to a smuggler on top of a road trip implies that there's a connection between events and helps the player understand that his mission is not just illegal, but dangerous. There's something sinister hiding beneath the surface and dangerous power lurking in his illicit cargo. It doesn't explain too much, but it implies a great deal through its editing, allowing players to create a narrative in your mind.
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, my narrative was what is going on. I didn't even know I played as 3 different people, so that'll tell you.
There you go.
I just thought it was the same person who was smuggling and also liked photography, because who doesn't like?
I mean, why wouldn't you?
Photography? Yeah, I mean, if I'm smuggling, I'm gonna try to squeeze in a little bit of photography while I'm out. So, speaking of squeezing, I got this game from the library. Because, by the way, I like to ironically say library. I don't know why. It's probably horrible, before anyone corrects me, because this is the internet. So my son really likes American Ninja Warrior. And part of that is because when we sit down for dinner, sometimes we'll sit at the table. Sometimes we'll sit in front of the TV. It just kind of depends on what we're eating. And we have to find something that we can all watch, because we can't, he is cognizant of what's happening on the TV. If it gets kind of scary, he immediately looks up and he's like, what is this thing I shouldn't be watching?
I shouldn't be watching this, Dad. Why aren't you parenting right now?
Yeah, I'm being scarred for the rest of my life. So American Ninja Warrior tends to be one of those things. Master Chef is another one. That kind of is on the border, though, because sometimes it gets a little bit, the swears and stuff.
They get Master Chef Junior. That'd be better for him.
That's usually what we do, but then we run out of shows, and America's Got Talent, World of Dance, which, by the way, World of Dance, I like a lot better than I thought I would.
I haven't watched that one.
it annoyed me at first, but the thing about watching it is it's one of the one shows where I feel like they actually know what they're talking about.
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah,
They
yeah.
speak the language of dance, and I'm like, holy cow. There's so many moving parts here that I don't understand. Arms, legs, torsos, all moving. Anyways, American Ninja Warrior
No
challenge.
feet? That's weird.
No feet. Yeah. Everything moves except for the feet. Just like me. So American Ninja Warrior Challenge is on the Switch. I don't know if it's on any other platforms, but I saw this game and I said, you know what? My son, he might like to play this game. We can be an American Ninja Warrior together. And I did not look up anything about this game before I got it from the library, because there's no reason not to try, get it from the library. It's free. I have that privilege. I'm gonna exercise my right.
You pay your taxes?
That's right. I pay my dues time after time.
Wow, critics haven't even reviewed this. I'm looking on Metacritic right now. There is 0 scores for the Nintendo Switch version of this.
They have been saved the pain, because this reminds me of the type of thing that you would get if you sent in like 20 UPC codes off from cereal boxes or something. This game runs so badly. Like, even the menus feel laggy. I don't know what is going on. It takes forever to load. And so you make your character. Oh, and another problem was for some reason, it was not cropped correctly on the screen. So some of the parts at the bottom that tell you what buttons to press to do whatever, like,
oh God,
back out, they're cut off. So you have to like figure out what the heck it says. So what it is basically is you make a character and then you do a American Ninja Warrior career, which I guess is like 5 years. So you do, the trials or whatever they're called, the first one, and then you do the city finals and then the championship or whatever it's called. I don't know that. You'd think after watching this, I'd know the wordage and everything, but I don't. This game runs so badly that what it is you run up to an obstacle and you have to do timed button presses or like move the thumbstick in a certain fashion. So already I was like, okay, my son probably can't play this. So
right.
This is strike one. So I take the controller, and to his credit, he actually did do some of it, because there's 2 control modes. There's amateur and pro. So I just put him on amateur, and it seems to be a little bit more forgiving. So I'm trying to play it, and he goes through a little bit of it, of one of the runs, and I'm like, wow, you're doing it, dude. This is awesome. So we get to another one where the obstacles are slightly different. So the button presses are a little bit different. And I don't understand how you're supposed to play this game. It lags so badly that I'm like, I'm pressing the button. Why going through? What? So think of like QuickTime events, but
the game. QuickTime events, the game.
Yeah, exactly. And you're just like, I don't know what you want from me. I'm pressing the buttons. I'm pressing it before. I'm pressing it after. When it's lagging, you can't really hit that sweet spot apparently. So I don't know how this got made. At least I don't know how it came out for the Switch, because even in the menu, when you're just standing there picking a level or trying to figure out what to do, and the guy's just standing there and nothing is happening, it's still running at like 15 frames per second. I don't understand what's going on with this game, but it's hot garbage. Bad. It made me sad. So I was kind of like, what if this is really good? What if this is like, like the track and field games of yore, where
sure.
Fun. So that's what I was hoping for. Or at least American Gladiators or something.
Oh, yes.
But it ain't. At least not on the Switch. I don't know what else it came out for. But
it looks like it's on PS4 and Xbox as well.
I was going to say probably pretty much everything.
Yeah.
What comes out on everything, optimized for nothing. So
yeah, that's pretty fair.
And then lastly, the game that I've actually spent the most time playing is Tales of Berseria. Now, this is an anime game, which I would normally not be caught dead playing, because I think before I played Xenoblade Chronicles 2, I think I would just scoff immediately at any anime game that just even looks cel-shaded and vaguely anime-ish. I'd be like, oh, they're games for teenagers or whatever, And I gave Xenoblade Chronicles 2 a shot, and I actually enjoyed it, even though I identified like, yeah, there's some tropes and there's some ridiculous things that most animes have going on. I could see it for what it really was. And, you know, they have a little bit of the anime stuff, but it also was a pretty solid game underneath. You know, not perfect, but good. So I kind of had that feeling of wanting to play a JRPG again. I don't really know why, but I had this from Humble Bundle again, and I was like, you know what? I might as well give it a shot because I did enjoy on some level that other game. So why not? That other game. We don't speak its name anymore. So what's interesting here is the combat system seems pretty simple. It actually reminded me a bit of the Final Fantasy VII demo, or maybe many of the Final Fantasy ones where you're kind of button mashing at the point to attack.
Yep.
So what you're doing here is you actually can create your own, you unlock moves, and then you can create your own 4 button combos to bind to each button. So you'll have a string of 4 moves that you can bind to the A button. So it'll go through, if you mash the A button 4 times, it'll go through combo or hit 1, hit 2, hit 3, hit 4.
Sure. Yeah.
You can do that for every single button. So then you can also do A, X, Y, B, for instance, and then you'll do A, the first hit of that combo, X, the second hit of that combo. So you can mix it up pretty easily. But it's also really overwhelming because they just kind of drop you into that, and you don't really understand why you're mixing up combos or what the different moves even do. So there's a little bit of that. You should probably look up what most of this stuff means. They try to tell you, but it's that JRPG, the way they do it, they usually just throw a wall of text at you.
Yep.
And you're like, it's like tutorial, and you're 30 hours into the game and it's still saying tutorial for something that just happened. And you're like, is this game ever be a tutorial?
Press to skip.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I just want to kill things. Oh, stop holding my hand. And
this is America, Japan role-playing game.
God. And then I get mad because I don't know how the game works.
Yep.
So then, but yeah, the combat system seems to have some depth. It's kind of like what happened in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, where you started out and you don't know what's going on, but then as you unlock stuff, there's some depth there, and you're like, oh, and everything starts clicking.
Yeah.
Not as good as that one, because it's I find it's harder to do the moves that they want you to do, even though you're only pressing one button. It still feels like button mashing.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm okay with that. I kind of like how simple it is. I don't need a really convoluted system or anything. Sometimes I want to mash buttons. Other times I want to vary up my combos and see if I can actually maximize my damage or whatever.
Sure.
The other things I noticed in the game, I played it probably 10 or 15 hours. It's got a really good English dub. That's one thing I usually about anime and JRPGs is that the dubs are awful.
What?
I know, right? Blasphemy. But these are surprisingly pretty good. The writing is decent. I think that helps. But the voice actors definitely carry it because there are some tropes. But even when things are ridiculous, it doesn't grate on my nerves as much as it usually would in most, like B-level animes or whatever. And then one of the other things that I noticed that I kind of like is they have these fashion items that you can unlock.
Ooh.
Sounds really dumb, but it's kind of cool because most of the cutscenes are in engine. They have a few actual cartoon anime drawn things, but for the most part, they're all in engine. And when you add some of these fashion items, there'll be things like hats or ties or sunglasses or things like that. They just kind of go over top what they're already wearing. So you can kind of customize them, and the items are actually pretty cool. So it makes it worth it to kind of unlock them, and then you can kind of customize the characters however you want. So you can have them wear sunglasses, a 10-gallon hat, and a rose boutonniere if you really want to.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, why? I mean, it's anime. Anything's up for grabs, right? Sure. Nothing is ridiculous when everything's ridiculous. So I'm really enjoying it, and I've actually put the most amount of time into this game. I foresee myself actually beating it. I have no idea how long it takes. The story, I don't really know what's going on.
Sure.
It's usually the typical save the world type deal, but it's better than I expected, and it makes me curious about all the other Tales games because I've been vaguely in the background aware of like Tales of Vesperia.
That's why I've played that one. That one I know of, and I think it's the only one I've played. But yeah,
I know that I think the combat system from that is even different. So
yeah, I don't think it was the same way as you were describing, because that's very Kingdom Hearts-esque now what you were describing. But yeah,
yeah. So yeah, I'm delightfully surprised that I like it, and now I'm just watching. I asked about anime on the Discord, and now apparently I just do anime. I've come a full 180, turned around, and now I just watch anime all day and sit with my waifu pillows.
what could be better?
They're my real friends.
Not like your fake internet friends.
That's right. You're just a waifu pillow.
What if you got a waifu pillow of us?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my
No. We would need the boyfriend pillow thing where it's like half
the arm
in his arm. Yeah, exactly. Put our faces on there.
There you go.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Good times.
All right, so I'll go next. I talked a little bit about this last week, but I spent more time with Dead by Daylight. Have you played that one at all?
Yes, I played it on the free weekends, and I really enjoy playing as the killer.
Which I haven't done yet, and I don't know why. I think I'm like afraid to. I don't know. Like it's weird. So I'm finally getting the game. It's clicking for me a little bit, and like it really sets you up. And this is what Donnie and I were both talking about. Like when you first start off, and like everybody else you're playing with is like level 50, and you're like level 1 and 2. Like you're like, why am I so bad? It's like, well, there are perks and stuff you actually unlock as you go along that make your person actually better. It doesn't have. I mean, yes, how you play the game or how good you are at the game plays a factor, but also your level clearly does matter in this game. It's not like Fortnite or Apex where it's like your level is really just how much have you been playing this game. Doesn't mean you're any good. It just means you've played it a lot.
It's not 100% skill based, but it's also not 100% like random roll based or whatever perk based, I guess.
Yeah. So I've been playing with it a little bit more.
I feel like that's a good mix of like your skills still matter a little bit, but you also want things to look forward to and perks to unlock and whatnot. So
totally. Cool. And I'm just trying to figure out a little bit more because I think we want to do PSVG game night using this at some point, whether it's just 4 of us play or 5 of us play and stream it kind of deal. But yeah, I haven't tried the killer yet, which I don't know. I don't know why. Like I keep going. I'm like, well, I'm already working on this guy and I'm leveling up this guy. I might as well just keep playing as him. But
I have a question. Do they still? Because I only played as the survivors. I only really played it like 2 or 3 times.
Sure.
And it felt like it was the same map. Is it always fixing the broken down generators when you're?
It's always fixing down the broken down generators, but you are on different maps. There are multiple maps based on the killer, I believe. Like I think the same killer is always in the same map kind of deal.
That explains why I was playing the same map then, because I was the same killer every time.
Okay, then yeah. If you play different killers or you're playing against different killers, that brings you to a different place, but it's always fix 4 generators, unlock the door, and escape before he puts you on those big meat hooks.
Yes.
And the thing from the sky takes you away. It's like the claw from Toy Story. It's just much darker.
Maybe that's what it is. It's all just a big claw machine.
That's the spoilers for Toy Story 5. That was the whole thing right there. It's actually Dead by Daylight. Yeah, there's not much more to say about that really, but I'm going to keep playing it, and hopefully we can do a stream of it. I'm still digging, and I don't know why I stopped playing it, I guess, so much. And you've played this Moonlighter.
Yeah, I beat the game.
Right? Yeah. I'm just.
I beat the game.
What do you mean you're playing it again? I already beat it. No,
yeah, you talked about this last week. You should be done with it by now.
Well, because I bounce around from thing to thing, and I don't play the Switch as much as I have been everything else. But I guess I was just dumb, and I actually decided to look up like how much should I be selling stuff for. Because you know how like you grind, just those of you who don't know, you grind in the dungeons like Zelda style, you grab all loot, you go back to your store, you sell the loot, and you get these little emoticons when people come into your store and buy, whether it's the right price, it's underpriced, it's overpriced, but it doesn't really guide you as to like how close you are per se.
This is how I did it.
Yeah.
There's a list of the stuff that you can sell, and it's divided by how much the highest priced item underneath that will go. So I did a lot of trial and error by going, okay, this thing sold for 100 gold. I'll put the next one up at 150 and then find out it's way too low or whatever. It takes a lot of time, and you lose out on a lot of potential profit, especially when you have a stack of 10 to sell. Or
yes. Yeah. So I cheated and I looked up a guide to find out how much stuff was supposed to sell for.
That's how a smart shopkeeper would do it.
And now I'm enjoying the game a whole lot more because I'm able to actually upgrade stuff now. It's like before, like I really just struggled even getting enough gold to upgrade the shop because I was seriously like there was stuff when I looked it up. I'm like, wait, this sells for 1,500. I'm like, I've been selling it for like 100 or 200.
Oh gosh,
and trying to figure it out. Like I didn't think anything sold for that high that early in the game, just in that first dungeon.
Yeah.
So
towards the end of the first dungeon, but once you get there, spend a little time, you start getting that stuff that's like $2,000 or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, I make that in like a day usually.
Right.
See, Jason had the same problem. He couldn't upgrade his equipment and he got stuck in a death loop where he couldn't really keep, like upgrade his stuff to keep going.
Yeah. That's exactly what happened to me. And I think that's why I stopped playing it. And I like something else came along. It wasn't that I was like frustrated with Moonlighter the first time. It's just something else came along and I stopped playing it. But now I went back to it and I restarted completely because I was like, well, I don't want to pick up where I left off.
Yeah. I screwed this up so badly.
Right. So, but yeah, I'm enjoying it a whole lot more now. And it's a good game you could pick up and play for 5 or 10 minutes if you don't have much time,
Yeah.
And keep going. So I'm having fun with that.
I did say with that one, I was like, I would like to see what they do with number 2. Like if they did Moonlighter 2, I think it would be much better because I felt like once you get to the 4th or 5th dungeon, whatever the max one was, I'm just kind of like, okay, like the weapons, the combat's getting a little stale. So that was my only thing about that.
So far, I've just been sticking with the sword and shield. Like I'm not even switching different weapons. I just keep upgrading that. Okay.
You have the bow?
I do have a bow, and I've used it a few times. But I'm like, meh.
You're gonna need that later.
Okay.
You're gonna want to upgrade that for later because I've already beat the game. I don't know how to do that, but it was invaluable for me later. So it'll help. It won't like kill things, but it'll help mediate or manage like all the BS that's happening because it does happen, and it's just like what, and then you lose all your stuff and never want to play again.
And how do you know this already?
Because I don't know if you heard, but I beat the game.
Okay.
That was New Game Plus. I don't know if I mentioned that.
Whoa.
I used knives only. I don't even know if that's an option, but I did.
All right, let's move away from that one. Let's talk about something you haven't beaten. At least I don't think. Crash Team Racing.
No, I have not played it, but I want to.
So this is a weird one. This is one. So Donnie and I game share on Xbox. So, whether I buy a game or he buys a game, we both get access to that game. So there's a lot of stuff that we'll purchase that one of us will definitely want and the other one will have zero interest. So like I bought Kingdom Hearts 3 before. I'm pretty sure he's never played it. I bought Fallout 76. He has never played it. Well, Crash Team Racing was one that he bought and I had zero interest in it. He's just like, no, this is really cool. I'm going to buy it. Okay. Thanks, Donnie. I'm never going to be like, I'm going to turn this game away because, I didn't buy it, so I don't want to play. It's like, no, it's a free game. It's like you playing American Ninja Warrior. Like, it's a free game. Why not? Why
not? Let's see how bad it really is.
Yeah. So I booted it up, and to much to Donnie's dismay, and I think Jason kind of jumped on me a little bit about it too, is the way I was describing it before, saying like, well, it's no Mario Kart. And the thing is, it's not trying to be Mario Kart. And I think I was able to clarify that point afterwards. If you've played Diddy Kong Racing back on N64, this plays very much like this, where there is a quote-unquote story mode. There's an semi-open world. Like you're dropped in a map, and you drive to whatever race you want to do. Oh. So they give you the different points of the map saying, okay, you have to beat all these maps before you race against the boss and fight the boss. So, but you can do them in whatever order you want. If you want to go to the 4th race, you could do that first if you want. If you want to do the first race first, go right ahead. You just drive to where you want to go. And you can do each race, and there's like 3 different styles for each race too. So you have your standard race, just come in first and you win. There are ones where you have to find the letters C, T, and R and come in first place in the race to get something. And there's ones, the relic ones give you a time limit, like a maximum time limit to say, okay, you have 1:30 to finish this race. And as you're racing, here's the thing, it would be impossible for you to finish it in the time that they give you. But instead of hitting those little item blocks like you would in Mario Kart to get your weapons, there's these crates with numbers on it. And when you hit those numbers freeze the clock for that amount of time. So you can hit like a 3-second, freeze it. So you have to do your 3 laps, hit as many of these boxes to keep your time as low as possible, and obviously not mess up because you still have to you still have to race well to complete it. And that's a different version of the race you can do on there. So there's all these different like objectives. It's not just simply race and win. It looks fantastic. I will say that this is not your standard remaster or remake, just up-resing things just a little bit. Like, no, this was clearly redesigned just using that base game as the inspiration. Like, I'm pretty sure it's the exact same game, but they redid everything. It wasn't just, new textures and whatnot. They recoded this whole game.
Wow.
It's a lot of fun. I will say the core racing and the story mode, if you just do the races, I haven't hit really anything that was even remotely difficult yet with those. But the different race modes, and there's also this other mode that only certain maps have where you're basically dropped in and there's 30 or like 25 coins in the stage, and they give you like a minute to get all the coins, and you're just driving around doing 360s and donuts trying to hit and get all these things, do jumps and grab all the coins. It's not a track, and this is just like an open map. To do those in a time challenge too. Like, some of those are actually quite hard, and I'm pretty sure that's all just for extra stuff, like extra cosmetics and characters and what I think you can unlock with that stuff. But it's pretty darn fun. So I will say I don't actually know how much the game goes for normally. I don't know if it's a $60 game or not.
I feel like it's 40.
Yeah, I was gonna say if it's 40 or less, like a $30-$40 game feels like that's where it should be, to be honest. And it's a great game. $39.99. Yep. So $40. I definitely think it's worth it. I haven't played online yet, but I know Donnie definitely wants to. And I think we have a couple people purchasing the game as well, or they already did and just didn't realize it was out. So we might be doing some racing on that, but it's definitely not as difficult or as like focused on just winning as Mario Kart is, but it still has all your basic tropes. You have your weapons, you still have your abilities and stuff like that. Drifting is a big thing. So that's how you get your nitro boost, and hence in the name Nitro. So there's some skill level around that. But yeah, it definitely feels just like a simplified version of Mario Kart with a whole bunch of extra different modes that you can do that you can't get in Mario Kart. But it's pretty darn fun. So I will say kudos to Donnie on that one. That's one I never would have said I want to buy this game, but I'm having a lot of fun with it. So
yeah, when I saw you called it like Diddy Kong, I was kind of like, oh, that was one that I was surprised at liking, because I had played Mario Kart first and like, Diddy Kong, what is this? Some kind of wannabe off-brand, but it ends up being really fun. So,
yep. And it was completely different. Like, yeah, they're both kart racers, but they're clearly both going for something very different. Yeah,
that's really cool. I'm looking at pictures and it does look very nice.
Yeah, they did a really good job on that. So that one's cool, and I'll dig into more on that over the next week. The last thing I actually just added, because this was a random thing I wasn't planning on doing, was while everybody was at the beach house today, and I was sitting at home like a curmudgeon because I hate the outdoors and I hate the sun. Shout out to Caro. I looked and I was just flipping through Twitter, and I saw our friend Luke Lore, the Insipid Ghost, Xbox Drive Ball, was streaming. So I was like, oh, let me hop in the stream and see what he's playing. And it was him and our other friend, Mr. Badbit, were playing Apex Legends. But I looked, and Luke Lore was actually raising money for a friend's wife, I believe, who has cancer, and he's raising money to support, F cancer, if you will.
Yeah, sure.
And it was just the two of them playing, and I watched for a little bit, and I said, you know what, let me message them, and I did. And I said, hey, you guys want a third? I'll jump in. And they were like, dude, absolutely. So I jumped in, and I shared the stream on our Discord there. And we played Apex Legends for a good, I don't know, maybe 40 minutes or so. But the funny thing was, the first match I dropped in with them, we won that match on stream, which is always good to actually, because I've won Apex Legends before, but I don't think I've ever won on stream. So it's like evidence of like, I can actually win,
Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun. And the good thing is Luke had set a goal of, I think, $550 today to be the goal. And he hit $575. So it was a good story there too. Donnie actually jumped in and donated, I think, $50 during the stream there too. So thank you to everybody who tuned in and watched that. And maybe I'll do some more stream with those guys every once in a while, because they play Apex Legends a lot. And it was a lot of fun. I don't stream very often, but this was a lot of fun to have some good guys playing a battle royale game and not mocking me for it. So yeah, we're all in the same boat there. So
well, that's very cool. You don't want to show up and be like, hey guys, you need a third, and then they're like the first team to die.
Oh, and they warned me when we started that I better not screw things up. They're like, you better not suck. They're like, because they told me they were literally the best people to ever play that game, and they win always. They've never not won.
Wow.
Except for, ironically, that one time when I was about to join them and they died, and then I had to join their party. That was the only time they had ever lost ever. Wow. They're the best ones in the world. and they said don't mess it up.
I bet you were very nervous after that little pep talk. Oh, geez, I suppose I'll do as best I can.
Oh, gee golly, I'll be your healer. Yeah, because typically I play Lifeline a lot, who's the healer support class one. So I typically play as her, and it worked out well because they both were playing characters that are more aggressive. So I was able to support, heal them, and revive them if something happened. So it worked out well. It was fun. Yeah, that's it. That's it for games. So let's talk about the news of the week.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite news outlet on the Citadel.
I will let you go first, sir. You choose whether you want to do Nintendo or PC first. Your choice.
Let's do Nintendo because I have a little bit of a longer one for these two. But let's start with Risk of Rain 2. Now, I played this with Josh a little bit, and I didn't really know what to expect because they basically changed this game from a 2D shooting platformer type deal into a 3D shooting game.
I remember this. Okay. Yeah.
And so we played it together, and I just kind of dropped in because he was like, hey, do you want to play this? And so we did. And I think he graciously purchased it for me, as a matter of fact. And so I have some familiarity with the game. It's sort of, it kind of feels like an arena shooter, not an arena shooter. Sorry.
Hero shooter.
Yeah, but also kind of like Serious Sam or something like that.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
You know, you're in a kind of closed off level and you got a bunch of stuff coming at you. I don't know what you would call that, but
Horde mode?
Yeah, horde modes. Horde mode.
Horde modes.
Horde
Don't
mode.
you know? Don't you know?
Some really Canadian. So I kind of thought about it, and the reason why I brought this up was the game is a very strange looking game. It's kind of simple looking, but it's one of those games where the actual game itself looks fairly simple. It's not too extreme. It's not photorealistic or anything,
Right.
But the effects look really good. And it, like the lighting effects and the actual effects of the guns and everything, make it look really nice. And I thought about it. I'm like, this might actually be really good on the Switch because you just jump in and it's a roguelike. So you play through as long as you can, and then you die, and boom, 20 minutes have gone by, and you're home or whatever. You can play it really quickly. You can play it with friends. So I was kind of like, you know what, this makes sense. This actually seems like a good idea. Now, the actual game though, we didn't play enough of it for me to make a full, like a full review of it or whatever, but it feels solid, but it's not, I didn't get it. You know what I mean? We didn't play it enough for it to click with me. So take that as you will, but I think it's only like $10.
Yeah.
So not bad for people who are like, what do I play until Animal Crossing comes out? Well, here you go.
This is clearly the same demographic they're going for too.
Yes, exactly. They actually just announced that they're going to put Animal Crossing characters in the game, playable and also as enemies. So,
nice.
Pretty cool. Yeah. Yep. So Risk of Rain 2, look for it on the Nintendo eShop.
It's weird. So yeah, this is the one I didn't remember it by name. When I looked at the photos, like, oh, that's right. This is the one where everybody looks like Mysterio from Spider-Man.
Yes, orb heads.
Yeah, they got the domes. It's weird though. So this Risk of Rain is published by Gearbox. They were at E3. You'd think that if this was coming, why not announce it at E3? That's very odd to me that it wouldn't be brought up.
That is a good point. And this wasn't in any of the directs or anything, was it?
Nope. It's a rumor right now. It's rated by the Germany's classification board for Switch. This is how the leak is out there. But there was rumors back in March when data monitors found multiple file names referencing the Switch in the PC version of the game. It even mentioned Joy-Cons and Pro controller support inside the coding for PC games. So it sounds like this has been in the works. But
I guess I should say it's not like for sure thing, but
right. It's a rumor, right.
Yeah, that is really weird. Maybe they're like, there's no possible way this game could play on the Switch.
That's honestly, that's part of my concern. So the art style lends itself well, I think, to Nintendo's audience. Like you said, it's very odd, but it's cel shaded, but simplistic. But when you get hordes and explosions and effects involved, I wonder how is the Switch going to handle that? And
it's running at 480p, and you're just like, what is this blob that I'm?
Yeah, so I hope it's not one of those scenarios, but it does look pretty cool. And I mean, it's for the right price. I'd be interested in trying this on the Switch as long as it runs well.
Yeah, and it does have different characters and stuff. So, I mean, I think they're all orb heads, but, you know, they have different skills and stuff. So I do think it would be a solid addition to the lineup.
Cool.
So, yeah. And then the other thing is I found this list to be interesting, and I wanted to talk to you about it since we're sort of the redheaded stepchildren of the Nintendo-esque people who are in PSVG. So this is here are the top 10 best-selling third-party Switch games as of May 2019. So life-to-date sales in the US. I don't think there's any surprise at all that the first one is Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle. No. Other than it's been there for so long.
Yep.
Then number 2 is Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, which is kind of surprising to me. I mean, it's not the name, but I kind of heard mixed reviews about it, about how like difficult the jumps and stuff were. And
right. I mean, the original Sony version of it wasn't great for button timing and stuff like that. And yeah, it's really weird because, as you know, Nintendo, we've had a few different Crash Bandicoot games hit the 3DS, I think. But this was like, I think the first time it's been on like the core console for Nintendo. So like, I don't think that audience is there that really knew Crash, but maybe it's just like, well, this looks like a kid friendly game. I don't have a Mario to play right now. Let's buy this. But after seeing more of this list, I'm really surprised how high up it is.
Yeah, me too. And then I thought this would have been higher. Diablo 3.
Yep.
I mean, but then again, I guess you think people who are playing Diablo 3 typically are PC users. So is there, I mean, I guess there's a bigger install base here than I thought there would be, but you know.
Well, you think about how many of those people bought Diablo 3 multiple times on multiple consoles.
That's true. I know quite a few of those people.
I had it on PS4 and Switch. So, and Josh had it on, I think, all 3 different consoles. PC, pretty sure he had it on PlayStation or one of them, and bought it again on Switch. So, yeah.
Yep. My goodness. Yeah, he definitely had it on PC because we played together. That's what I did. I said, hey, Josh, do you want to play it with me since you already have it so that I don't feel the need to buy it on another platform?
Yeah, right.
And I am glad I did that because most people stopped playing within probably a month, I think.
Yeah.
Felt like it. Now, here's where the list gets a little weird.
Yes.
This is what I don't understand. I did notice it does say that some publishers do not include their physical and digital, do not share their digital data. Sorry. So Bethesda, Microsoft, Sega, and Atlas specifically don't share digital data, unfortunately. So I guess they won't be included at all. Number 4, Just Dance 2019 on the Switch. How does that even work? Do you have to hold the Joy-Cons?
Yeah. Yep. Which is weird because obviously Just Dance is still a thing because there's been 10 years of these games coming out, and they come out on every console, and we laughed about how it's still coming out on the Wii. This version, the new one is going to be out on the Wii.
It's like, now that's what I call music. It just comes out.
Yes, but I don't know anybody that has played this.
Me either.
Or at least told us that they've played it. That's the thing.
People with kids who have kids, and they
I have kids, and the last one we played was back on. Pretty sure the Wii was the last time we played a Just Dance game.
Was it when Han Solo was in the game and he was dancing?
No, that wasn't.
That was Kinect thing.
Yes, that was Dance Central or something like that.
Yeah, that shows you how much I know. Now,
I beat that game.
On knife mode. What? Now, here's where it gets kind of even more weird. Number 5, Just Dance 2018, because these people can't get enough.
I mean, there were more people. So many people were excited about 2018 that more people bought 2019.
Yeah. I mean, you would. Well, I guess their saving grace is you don't need a plastic peripheral to play the game.
Yeah,
but it really feels like Rock Band and those types of games.
Oh yeah, totally.
Goodness gracious.
I will say they are fun, but like I would never even think of buying one at full price. Like, I think any Just Dance game I've had was either given to me or I got for less than $15. Which, I mean, for those of you have kids or you have a bunch of people over and you're having some adult beverages, maybe it's kind of fun. But yeah, it's not like I'm not rushing to the store to buy Just Dance ever.
Yeah, me either. I mean, all you can do is dance. It's in the title.
And Just Dance. Yeah. Nothing else.
And then 6, 7 Lego games, Marvel Superheroes 2 and The Incredibles, which, I mean, that just kind of tells you right there. The Switch is just for kids. This is a kid-centric console that's for babies, and they don't have any M-rated games on it.
Which I find is funny. Well, Diablo 3.
No, that's PG-13.
Oh, is it?
No.
Or it could be T for teen. I don't know. I am surprised. I'm not surprised that Lego's on here, but I am surprised that Lego City Undercover isn't on here.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I feel like that should have beaten the Incredibles 1.
I don't know when the Incredibles 1 came out. Was that recent?
It came out right as as the Incredibles 2 came out. So last year was Incredibles 2.
Okay. Does it include both then?
It does. But the weird thing is it starts with Incredibles 2 and then goes to Incredibles 1. Like, it's backwards. So like, if people bought the game but didn't see the movie right away, you might have stuff spoiled for you.
What is going on?
Yeah. And it wasn't, to be honest, it wasn't. I have it on PlayStation, I think. My daughter bought it with like Christmas money or asked for it for Christmas or something. So I have it. I played it a little bit, and it's weird. It doesn't play right. Like, you can unlock, like I unlocked Dory from Finding Nemo in Lego The Incredibles.
That's weird.
Yep. So I don't, like, they had to throw, I guess, more characters in, because every Lego game, like, the whole purpose is I get 500 different characters, and like Lego Incredibles, you have 5. Like, so the others, I guess, don't make sense, or 6 if you count Frozone. So I guess they needed other things to supplement it, but it just feels very odd and not thought out. Like, the Lego Marvel games are good, just like the Lego DC games are good, but the Incredibles didn't really do much for me.
Interesting. You think they would do well, considering they've already made so many other super.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? And then lastly, you get NBA 2K18, Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate, which was kind of surprising, and then 18. But like, Octopath Traveler is not on there.
That was the first thing that was in my head. I'm like, how is that not on there?
Any of the other RPGs that most people associate with getting on the Switch. So I don't know. It was just kind of, it seemed to be a list mostly of things that came out a while ago, and you think would have just kind of tapered off by now and just got left in the dust. But yeah, kind of interesting, especially number 1, Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle, which I like. I mean,
it was great.
It's a good game. So
I'm also confused. Like, do we not count indie as third party? Like, do we count those as separate?
Oh yeah, that's a good point right there too.
Because how have things like Overcooked not been on that list? Because like, everybody buys Overcooked, whether it's 1 or 2. Like, Hollow Knight, like all these indie games that came out, even if they were on other consoles that hit Switch and had stayed. I mean, this had to be between 5 or 10 last year alone that said they sold more on Switch than they did on all the other consoles combined. Like, how are none of those on here unless they're not counting them?
Yeah, that is a good question. I call shenanigans. I don't think anything. Wait a minute, this list is from 2017. That's not true. Although that probably has happened before to me.
We're talking to you, Nintendo Life.
Yeah.
Throwing it out there.
So yeah, I don't know. Kind of meh. Just Dance. People, stop buying Just Dance. They're just
please.
Them.
Please. Yeah. All right, let's give you a little bit of a break here. I'm going to dive into some Sony news here. We all know this is going to be the little bit of E3 we're going to talk about here. Sony was not present at E3 this year. Autoplay. Yes, scroll down past video. I saw the box. I'm like, nope, scroll down.
Yeah.
So Sony was not at E3.
No, stop it. Is that coming through on your end?
Yes, I can hear it whenever time it does that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
That's not being man, that's ridiculous.
It's all right.
All right, sorry.
Despite not being present at E3 though, in any shape or form, it still managed to be the 3rd most talked about publisher at the show, behind Xbox and Nintendo. which were at the show in their usual capacity. And Microsoft had that big stage and did their direct and had a lot of square footage on the show floor. But yeah, Twitter data, they mined it, and they were mentioned almost as much as Nintendo, which is shocking. They were just behind in percentage there. So, Nintendo dropped things like Breath of the Wild, the sequel to Breath of the Wild, Luigi's Mansion, Animal Crossing, Banjo hitting Smash Brothers Ultimate, like big news there. Xbox came out, talked about Project Scarlet, and all the 60 plus games or whatever they showed on stage at their conference. Mm-hmm. All this stuff going on, but yet Sony is still right behind them when they didn't announce anything. But they still have big titles like Last of Us 2, Death Stranding, Ghost of Tsushima coming out. But because games come on PlayStation, a lot of press coverage would still cover it. So, Marvel's Avengers, that was a talked about game a lot, whether people liked it or not. That's besides the point. But, hey, at the end of that trailer, by the way, if you pre-order on PlayStation, you can get access to the beta only on PlayStation. Wow. So, okay. Being that the strike against everybody else, that's news for PlayStation. Final Fantasy VII Remake coming to PlayStation first. They don't say how long, but it's clear it's not coming to Xbox anytime soon. So once again, another thing for PlayStation. So Sony did not need to spend any money, and they still got just as much coverage as they probably normally would have by not being there, simply because of their position in the market and what they have to offer gamers on their platform. I just thought that was really interesting. And this article makes an argument here that they may not ever be back to E3. I don't believe that personally. I think when it comes on time to unveil their next console, they will be there, I would think.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's just simply because they only had a few games that they were publishing to come out for this console left. We just have those big three that we know of that are left, and then everything else is really good for PS5. So I get not spending that money and talking about the games that they're all going to talk about anyway. So Square Enix showed Avengers and Final Fantasy for them and said, hey, you get perks for playing on PlayStation for these. So they did the work for them. They didn't have to do that. So I thought it was a funny move, and I'm just kind of wondering if, some Sony executives are sitting back in the chairs like, idiots, because everyone was mocking them for not being present at E3, and they got more positive press this year than they did last year when they were at E3, I feel.
That's funny. That's ridiculous. Smart on them, though, because, yeah. I mean, if everybody pulled out, obviously that would be bad. But it does kind of, I remember when Bethesda was going to have their own show. Mm-hmm. Everyone's like, why do they need it? But it does make sense that publishers would have shows over mostly hardware driven companies, unless they're showing some hardware. I know they do some publishing too, but I almost feel like it's backwards. Like why does a hardware company need to be there? Mm-hmm. Show their games when you can just show them through whatever other publishers are there. It doesn't make sense not to be there necessarily, but it clearly didn't hurt them. So they're doing something right, I guess.
Yeah, it definitely didn't hurt them, I think, as much as people thought it was going to hurt them in the positioning. And, I still feel like we're going to get some sort of press conference on one of their directs. I forget what they call theirs, soon. And they'll announce some stuff there. The rumors, especially with the rumors swirling that article, I forget who had it, where they gave out the specs for the PS5. The claims early on, now Microsoft hasn't talked too much about what Scarlet is or what the power is behind Scarlet, but early stories from developers who have these, dev kits are saying PS5 is stronger, more powerful, I should say, than the next Xbox, which I find really surprising. I really thought Microsoft would lean into that position of saying we have the most powerful console in the market, because they say it all the time.
Yeah. So
I don't know how much I believe that, but you got to kind of believe the developers who are already working on games for next gen, that if they say hey, this one's more powerful than that one, I feel like they know. But
yeah, they know what they're talking about. Well, it's because nobody knows this, but I do. Xbox is working on a Switch killer. Their next one is going to be handheld and dockable.
I think Jaleel White told you that, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He's actually pretty deep in the industry, in the games industry. So you'd be surprised what that guy knows.
Fair enough.
And what I know.
But they don't know that you know what he knows that you know.
Exactly. Bingo. And I know nothing because I'm Jon Snow. Game of Thrones, everybody. We're still talking about that, right?
Yeah. No, people still talk about that. Sure. So moving on over to Microsoft news.
Sure.
Earlier this year, rumors were swirling around that Microsoft would announce 2 new Xbox consoles at E3. One was this diskless streaming box, which actually ended up being announced earlier. That actually was in May. The Xbox One S All Digital Edition, or the Xbox SAD, as it's known as, which is a terrible naming thing that they did.
Yeah.
And at E3, they unveiled Project Scarlet, as it's being called now. But Phil Spencer is still walking around saying that he was planning a family of consoles. But yet now they're saying they're focused purely on one console and not at this point preparing for a dual launch with two different tier consoles. So for those not fully in the know, a lot of rumors were swirling that they would have like an Xbox One S version and an Xbox One X version. So you have your base model and then a more powerful model. Both play the same games, but one's performance is much, much better than the other one. But the price tag is also much, much higher than the other one. So everyone was thinking the same thing would happen with this launch. Now they're saying they're backpedaling, but they're only focused on releasing one console in 2020, and then they probably see something equivalent, higher powered, 2021 at the earliest. Between Scarlet, this launching, their Xbox Game Pass on PC launching, and this whole xCloud stuff that they didn't really talk about too much, I was kind of surprised. At E3, it seems like they're trying to rein in their focus a little bit because they have a lot of balls in the air right now. And I don't think that we're prepared to say, okay, we're going to launch two consoles at the same time as we're working through this Game Pass infrastructure on PC, as well as our great value we have on the console, plus this xCloud thing going on over here where people can play their games off their phones, similar to Stadia. I don't think they're ready to tackle all that at once. I think this focus makes a lot more sense to me. And honestly, it makes me a little happier because I was expecting that there was just going to be more expensive consoles coming out and it was going to be outside my pricing that I'd be like, okay, I'm not considering jumping to next gen for a while.
Yeah.
This gives me hope that, okay, maybe this one's going to be obtainable, especially if these PS5 leaks are that if it is more powerful. I think Xbox has to come in at a better price tag, which might be better for them. So I'm already invested in this whole Game Pass backwards compatibility. Like Xbox is saying all the right things for me as a gamer. I'm okay with it not being the most powerful console. As long as it still looks good and runs good, I'm fine. Much like you're fine not having the top tier PC because you're not going to spend the money on that. As long as what you got works and you're able to play the games you have, great, you're happy. That's what I'm looking for. So if they give me this baseline Xbox, whatever they call the next one, at a better price, I'm all for it. And then let the people, the psychos that want to buy the more expensive model a year from now, do it. Because we know, I don't think anybody had an Xbox One and then an Xbox One X came out. A lot of people, I think, upgraded through that process. I think a lot less people jumped from, hey, I've never owned an Xbox One to I'm going to immediately buy the Xbox One X at $600. Like they weren't jumping in at that price point without having some experience already in what that console offers, I feel. So I think doing the same strategy again is going to work out better for them because let's be honest, when you're saying Xbox Scarlet's going to launch with Halo Infinite, anybody that's an Xbox fan is not going to wait for that higher console to come a year later. They're going to buy the console, and then if they want the more powerful, they're going to buy the next one in a year too. So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I don't know. The whole idea, I still think that's obnoxious to have two different consoles.
I agree.
I know some people are like, more options are better or whatever, but just make one and stick with it. This isn't computers, it's just, you got one console. I don't know why it bothers me, but it does. Gosh.
Well, it's so for me, I don't have a PS4 Pro. I don't have an Xbox One X. So I didn't make any of these jumps that a lot of other people did. But that's the reason I'm a console gamer is I don't want to have to constantly upgrade my hardware like a PC would.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. I don't need that. In my mind, they probably could have just held off the PS4 Pro and Xbox One X and released that as the next gen. Like,
yeah,
they could have done that, but they're jumping and we're getting these mid life cycle upgrades, which overall they play the same games. Like, yeah, it looks better, but I don't have a top of the line 8K TV with all the things. Like, so it's not going to visually be any different for me. Yeah, maybe a little bit faster load times, maybe a bigger hard drive, but that's about it for me.
Well, that's what it comes down to. Is usually the more expensive it is, the more diminishing returns.
Sure.
There. So, yeah, I don't know. I if they position themselves as a medium between the new PlayStation 5 and I guess the next step down would be Nintendo. I'm assuming the Switch is still going to be around, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Then I think that's a pretty comfortable spot to be sitting in, probably like a 450, 500. Yeah. So at launch. So yeah, I mean, that's more doable than what I would imagine. Like you said, $600, right? PS5, You got if it's
Probably
well,
could be even more.
Yeah, a computer baseline for gaming would be like $800, and that's low level. That's like garbage, practically.
Why would you even bother playing?
Yeah.
Might as well have a hamster running in a wheel inside of it, for Christ's sakes.
What are you buying? You might as well buy a potato. You'd run it the same way. Yeah. So, I like this. I like this idea. I think
I like it. I have faith in Xbox now, which is weird for me to say if you go back and listen to like PSVG from 2 years ago. I'm all for it, and like I said, I'm strongly considering whatever consoles I get for next gen. I think I'm going digital, and I think I'm going to utilize these Game Pass and if PlayStation retools their PlayStation Now to be similar to Game Pass. Like I think I'm just subscribing to these things and calling it a day, because eventually all the games are reaching there, and I'm fine. I may buy a game or two here and there, but I'm fine with these offerings, and for the value, the quantity of games you get for that price, you can't beat it.
I think this is what they meant when they said games as a service. They didn't. A game should have been offering you microtransactions.
Yes, I agree too. Like the whole Destiny approach, like I like Destiny, but games as a service, like, hey, we're just going to sell you this game, and there's going to be DLC content for the next 5 years or whatever. Yeah, I know people call it games as a service, but I agree with you. I think things like Game Pass, PlayStation Now, that's games as a service. That's the Netflix of games, if you want to call it that way. To me, that makes more sense than these games you buy and you're just playing the same game for 5 years, but you're having to pay, $60 a year to play that one game, versus I'll pay, $60 a year to have 200 games at my fingertips whenever I want. And there's new editions every month,
Yeah, I'd be interested to know how. I know we've talked about it before, but how that works. How does
they pay them
split up? Yeah,
I have no idea. Yeah. That's all I got. So back to you for the PC news.
All right, I'll start with an interesting PC demo that I found. Now, the reason why I bring up a demo is because, one, it's a point-and-click adventure game, which Kevin, I know that if it's good, you'll be into it. But this game, apparently, this demo came about as a Kickstarter goal that was met for an animated short film called Robot Will Protect You. So this game is basically based off from an animated short film, and the game is called Encodia. I feel like Encodia sounds better to say.
Yeah, but it looks like Encodia.
It looks like Encodia. So basically it's about this little girl and her robot, which protects her. And the game isn't set to really come out until like the second half of 2020, which is really surprising for a point and click adventure.
Yeah, right.
But apparently it's pretty good. And it's a little bit silly. It's fun. It's not like really dry and dramatic like some of the Sherlock Holmes stuff has been. But it says, the dialogue is silly in spots, and the interface is clean and simple. The artwork is gorgeous. So you want a clean and simple interface when it comes to point and click adventures, I feel like.
Okay, definitely. I mean, the character models look pretty cool. I mean, your robot looks kind of like a miniature Iron Giant almost.
Yeah, it does. Mixed with a Cylon from whatever those things were from Battlestar Galactica. So yeah, just I like to keep my eyes out for things that might be bigger later down the line. And I think this could be, if it's good, because there's not enough good point and click adventure games. There's plenty of point and click adventure games, that's for sure.
Right.
But good ones are few and far between. So,
and the main character, this girl, whatever, looks like she'd be out of Psychonauts.
Yeah. She has,
like she's that weird head with the big eyes kind of deal.
Yeah. She wearing a helmet? Is that what I'm seeing?
Yeah. It looks like sort of helmet.
So yeah, it looks pretty cool, and I'd be interested in checking it out. I'll check out the demo, and then I'll forget I played it when 2020 rolls around. So,
but then you'll get a Humble Bundle in 2021. So
that is a good point. That's a good point. So, then lastly, I think some people, some Nintendo people probably saw this and they were like, "What the heck?" Because I know I was. Super Mario Brothers Battle Royale hit by DMCA takedown.
Of course.
Now it's called Infringio
Royale.
Yeah, I get it now. So this was a game that was basically based off from the first Mario, at least the art was and everything. And I'm assuming you and 99 other people tried to play the level and get as far as you could.
Yep, as whoever got to the end first would win.
Yeah. So kind of an interesting idea on the whole battle royale take, where you have the 2D platformer that you're just trying to get. Because I remember when we didn't have anything to do, when Jason and I lived together, we would boot up the original Nintendo and try to get through the first level as fast as we could, something like that. So this lends itself to that type of silliness. And the Nintendo head, of course, say, no, you can't do that.
Well, I mean, the original game literally was the exact sprites from Mario. So I mean, I can kind of understand. It was 100% all the assets from Mario.
Yeah, I don't know how. I wonder if they did it just to bait them to get, because if you did this as a 2D platformer that wasn't themed anything anybody knew about, would it really get any attention?
Nope.
Other than like 2D? Why do we need that? So maybe it was intentional.
It's definitely a great marketing technique, because a lot more people heard of it after they get slapped around by Nintendo.
That's true. We're talking about it, and I guarantee I'd never would have heard of this.
It was just like that. What was it? That person was leaking all the E3 stuff, like as E3 is happening, like the day before, saying like, "Hey, here's everything that's going to be in whatever's presentation." And Nintendo sent their lawyers after them before they even got to Nintendo to be like, "Don't you dare say anything." And they didn't. They stopped then. Like, all right, I'm not going to talk about them, but I'll talk about what everyone else is saying. If it's cross-platform being released, I just won't talk about your direct. And they just kept leaking. Like Nintendo's on top of this stuff, which is surprising for a company this big to be like, there's just stuff better to do, really, than. Yeah, I mean, I get you want to shut it down, but it's weird that you caught it that fast. Like, who's looking at this? Like,
oh my! I think it's renamed itself again. It's now called DMCA Royale. It literally, like, if you click on the thing that says "play here," you can play it here. It says at the beginning, "We are now in compliance with DMCA. Compliance with the DMCA. New assets have been used. Blah 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 blah."
That's hilarious.
Very tongue in cheek, but 1,056 people playing right now. 2 of which are us, probably, even though we're not actually playing it. But whoops, can't show that in a Christian manga. What does that even mean?
What?
Oh, boy. I don't know. It's if you watch the scrolling artwork go by long enough, you'll see this little poster that says what I just said. So, which username? So yeah, all the kids will be playing this in the library at some point. So there you go.
It's another battle royale. I'm gonna have to play it. I'm gonna have to win.
It's true. I figured.
That's
really why I brought it up, because I wanted to listen, see how far you could take it.
Guess I'm not going to sleep tonight.
Gosh, I finished second place. I think I could do first next time. Do you think it has a hilarious thing at the end when you win, like winner, chicken dinner, or?
No, they say chicken dinner, they're gonna get sued by PUBG.
Bowser's in another castle,
Yes, you're gonna win. It's like, I'm sorry, your princess is in another castle, and you're like, oh.
We're not allowed to congratulate you because we'll be hit with another strike. So, Princess Mushroom Cap will be like, I'm sorry. I would say my princess is another castle, but Fat Dinosaur Lizard. That's his name.
Fat Dinosaur Lizard. Awesome. Well, I think we ran things off the rails enough for today.
Sure.
All right. Let's wrap things up. Lucas, where can people find you if they're so inclined to follow the rest of your shenanigans on the interwebs?
I check Twitch
Twitch.
Twitter, not Twitch. Too many T's. Twitter every once in a while at heavymetal_riff. I'm usually creeping on the Discord though. It's like Yahoo chat never stopped. I'm always there in the Yahoo lobbies. I'm in the role playing servers. I'm in the pool. In Yahoo pool tables.
Oh, heck yeah.
Playing a little bit of the 5-card draw, 5-card stud. I don't know. Poker.
ASL and people.
That's right. ASMR, ASL, all of it. All the A's.
All the A's. All right. So head on over to psvg.blog to find the links to all the Discords and all the different shows here on the PlayStation Play Some Video Games Podcast Network. I'm too tired. I'm done for today, man. Make sure you check out Flux to Pose as well, fluxtopose.com, to find more of Lucas and Jason Lacey.
I did that too. I should have mentioned that.
That's okay. I got your back, buddy. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you for telling a friend. But most importantly, we ask, as always, that you never stop gaming.
It's a rare condition this day and age to read any good news on the newspaper page. And love and tradition of the grand design say is even harder to find. Well, then there must be some magic clue inside these gentle walls.